Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first ever virtual fundraising gala. I'm Jory Steele, and I'm proud to serve as board co-chair at Community Legal Services in East Palo Alto. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're thrilled that so many of you are participating. While we miss being with you in person, it's exciting to see that thanks to the magic of cyberspace, we have so many colleagues and friends attending from both near and far. There is joy and, yes, power when we all gather together as we do tonight, as a community of shared values and common purpose in supporting the lives and dignity of community members. This hasn't been an easy time. COVID has been tough on all of us, and it has been particularly hard on the communities CLSEPA serves. People have faced illness, lost jobs, been threatened with eviction, and faced risks to their health as essential employees. These have been and continue to be difficult times, times that reveal the inequities in our society, times that demand compassion and justice from us all. So, welcome, and thank you for being with us tonight. We've planned what we hope will be a moving and informative celebration of CLSEPA's mission. I hope you enjoy the opportunity to soak up the energy and solidarity present here tonight, and that you become inspired by the courage and determination of the people we serve. And most of all, that you have a great time among friends. We want to take some time to recognize the generosity of our Community Legal Services annual sponsors. Through their financial contributions, these firms and companies have demonstrated their commitment to partnering with us in service to the community. Without their generous support, we would not have had the flexibility to pivot and deliver new services in new ways. Because of unrestricted sponsorship resources such as these, this past year we were able to act quickly to respond as needs in the community changed. Here are our annual sponsor leaders whose loyal partnership has supported us over many years. Thank you very much for your support. We want to give a special shout out to our top sponsors. Thank you for your generosity. Baker McKenzie, Fenwick, Silicon Valley Campaign for Legal Services, Wilson Sonsini Goodrich and Rosati Foundation, Goodwin. Thank you very much to all these very special partners for making it possible to provide transformative legal services to members of our community. And now I'm pleased to introduce and welcome back our MC for tonight's virtual gala. You will remember him if you've attended our in-person events, our friend, the one and only Keith McLean.
Hey, thanks a lot, Jory, and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the 2021 Virtual Fundraising Gala benefiting Community Legal Services in East Palo Alto. My name is Keith McLean with KLM Auctions, and I'm so glad to be here with you all this evening for our first, and who knows, maybe our one and only, Virtual Fundraising Gala together. Well, I know we're all looking forward to being in the room together once again. You know, sometimes the universe has other plans, so I'm just so glad you all decided to join us this evening. As Jory mentioned, we have a really meaningful program for you here tonight. Our aspiration for the evening is that we learn about what's been happening in East Palo Alto and local communities and what CLSEPA has been doing to help, feel connected with each other in our shared purpose, contribute to building a better future together, and most importantly, have some fun tonight. So on that note, and to get us off in the fun way, we have a wonderful door prize to start things off. And this is just for being here. It's a gift pack from Hafner Vineyards in Sonoma County. It includes a 2009 Cabernet and a 2016 Chardonnay. Red or white, tonight's door prize winner will have some options. So now I have been texted the winner here that was pulled at the home office, and it looks like the winner of our door prize, thanks to Hafner Vineyards tonight, looks like our winner is Vicky Osborne. Vicky, congratulations. You're going home. Well, I guess you're already home, but you're going to be receiving the wine here. So congratulations on that. That's just for being here. Thanks again. Okay, now, in just a moment, you're going to hear from our program leads in the areas of immigration, housing, and economic advancement. And they're going to be discussing what's been happening in our local communities during pandemic times, and also the important work that CLSEPA is undertaking every single day to improve the lives of some of our most at-risk neighbors. Then you're going to get to hear from a recent community legal services client who through his own hard work and just a little bit of help from CLSEPA's Economic Advancement Program, he has been able to, well, how about I let him tell you what he's been able to accomplish? It's a lot. And then right after that, we're going to conduct a real meaningful appeal and encourage everyone here to be as generous as they can so that community legal services in East Palo Alto can continue to help our most vulnerable community members navigate the legal system in the areas of immigration, housing, and economic advancement. Now, donating or bidding could not be easier. Tonight, we're going to be utilizing what we call a single screen solution, meaning that all of our watching, bidding, and donating will be done right here on the screen you're watching now. You don't need a separate phone, separate device, none of that. It's all done right here on the screen you're watching. During our Fund a Need pledge, which is coming up in just a bit here, all you'll need to do to make a donation is click the green button on the right of your screen. You can see it right there. Right now it says donate. In the future, in just a few moments, it'll have different denominations at which you can donate. It's that simple. And then when it's time to check out, all you'll have to do is click the pledge cart, the shopping cart, the black and white shopping cart up in the upper right-hand corner that you can see right there. It's that easy. So sit back, grab a cocktail if you're so inclined, and enjoy your program. And now I'm going to turn it over to our esteemed panel with the conversation facilitated by Mariam Kelly, Managing Attorney for the Immigration Team at Community Legal Services.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. My name is Mariam Kelly, and I'm a managing attorney with the immigration program at Community Legal Services in East Palo Alto. So with us tonight, we have the program leads from each of our 3 programs, and we're going to be talking about a few things. First, we're going to talk just in general about how this past year has gone. We'll talk also about how COVID-19 has affected the communities that we've served, and we'll also talk about how our organization has pivoted to try to respond to the needs of our community in these changing and challenging times. So with me, I have our housing program lead, Jason Tarricone. We have Cristina dos Santos, who is the director of our immigration program, and we have Katrina Logan, who is the director of our economic advancement program. So thank you for being with us. So I just wanted to say that I'm really excited that we're all able to be in the same room tonight. Everybody is fully vaccinated, which is really exciting. So let's start with talking about how the pandemic has hit our immigrant communities. So Cristina, can you please tell us about how COVID-19 has affected the immigrants in our communities?
Immigrants in our community have faced many obstacles that predate the pandemic, and so much of that has been exacerbated by the pandemic conditions. For example, it's always been really challenging for undocumented folks to access medical care because they may not have a Social Security card or know how to access it. It's also been really challenging for immigrants to necessarily access jobs that provide a living wage and dignity. And connected with that, a challenge around obtaining housing security, and also risks of experiencing harassment or discrimination at the hands of landlords who use someone's undocumented status against them. So like I said, the pandemic has made things much worse. When it comes to lack of access to medical care, this was always, a matter of life and death for many people, but to now, at this point, that has been really exacerbated by the pandemic. We have many clients, unfortunately, who have contracted COVID, some who have ended up in a critical condition and hospitalized. With respect to access to work, so many of our clients work in informal sectors that were hit really hard by the pandemic. Things like cleaning services, janitorial, day laborer type work like handyman jobs. And so people who were already kind of living on the edge of poverty, in many cases, lost their small amount of income, and that really impacted people's ability to maintain housing security. And so we've seen families who were maybe doubling up, now potentially tripling up, and ending up in spaces that are extremely crowded, which of course puts them at great risk of exposure to the virus.
Thank you for sharing that, Cristina. So I think it's a good segue to talk to Jason about housing. How has housing instability affected our clients during the pandemic?
I want to echo a lot of what Cristina said. Even before the pandemic started, a lot of the client communities we represent were living on the precipice of disaster. They were living paycheck to paycheck with housing costs and food costs and the cost of living so high in the Bay Area. And so even before the pandemic, if someone lost a job or got sick and couldn't work for a couple of days, a lot of them faced eviction very, very fast if they couldn't pay that month of rent. And then when the pandemic hit and things closed down last March, those families were more likely to be the people on the front lines who lost their jobs. They work in industries where you can't work at home, the way that a lot of us have been lucky to. And so they lost their jobs immediately, lost their income, and then April rent was due. And we knew that thousands of families on the peninsula were not going to be able to pay the rent. So our housing team and other advocates worked with community members and elected officials to educate people about legal authorization to pass an eviction moratorium, given the public health crisis and given the legal authority that cities and counties already have to regulate evictions if they want to. And so we were able to advocate for San Mateo County to pass a moratorium very quickly so that people did not get evicted in huge numbers in April of 2020, right after the pandemic started. But that was just a temporary solution. It didn't deal with, the county measure didn't deal with the ballooning rent debt that people would have when the moratorium was over. And so we and others around the state continued advocating, and eventually the courts stepped in to slow down the eviction process and pause things to protect the public health. And then lawmakers in Sacramento passed a very strong eviction moratorium for the state, for all residents in California.
It's really great to hear that these efforts have helped people stay in their homes. Thanks so much for sharing that, Jason. So Katrina, can you talk to us a little bit about the challenges that workers have experienced during this time?
Yeah, similar to what Cristina said, the industries that we actually discovered where most of our clients work include the restaurant industry or food services, construction, and janitorial. And so those are all jobs where people have to go in person to do the job. Many of those jobs are, do pay either at or below the living wage. And I think in a lot of situations, some of our clients really are at risk, not only to COVID, but also to job loss or, just being fired because, a lot of companies really suffered big economic impacts when the pandemic hit. And so what we saw a lot during the pandemic were situations where a lot of our undocumented clients sought informal work, trying to really just find any income that they could. And unfortunately, were taken advantage of, by employers who were either unsophisticated, didn't understand what the labor laws are in California and, what they should have been paying their clients. And then, on top of that, right, it's difficult to recover wages from those types of employers who probably also are suffering economically. And so, we've seen a lot of injustice in terms of how our workers are experiencing COVID, and how, they are finding work and really trying to earn an income throughout the pandemic. One of the clients was someone who was trying to break into the healthcare industry. She got her record cleaned up because she wanted to, become a certified nursing assistant, and really benefited from the mock interview workshop because that's somewhere where she is going to have to address her past and talk about, how she's moved forward and how it won't impact her ability to do the job. And I think that, one of the things I learned, at least from that session from one of our pro bono attorneys, was that, what he said was in this job market particularly, resilience is actually a skill. Having resilience, having that ability to overcome, really tough situations and move forward, with your life and learn from your mistakes. That's something that employers want. And so really understanding how to bring that forward, how to tell your story in a positive way. I think all of us really learned a lot, and finally, like now applying for jobs when, especially in the healthcare industry, workers are needed sorely. It's one of the biggest industries of growth in our area and obviously in the country because of COVID. And so we need more healthcare workers. And we hope that our clients aren't left out of that.
Cristina, do you have any stories from immigration in terms of how families have been affected by the pandemic and the associated challenges?
So one story that I would like to share that illustrates both the challenges our clients face, but also the enormous resilience is a story of a husband and wife where we are representing the husband because unfortunately he's facing deportation proceedings. Both he and his wife are immigrants. They've lived in our community for more than 10 years. They have 3 U.S. citizen children. They have started their own business where they were providing cleaning services, though, of course, during the pandemic, they were not able to continue to provide those services and faced an extremely challenging time without access to an income. Now that things are starting to open up a little bit more, they've started working around the clock to try and make up some of the losses that they experienced during the many months that they couldn't work. And it's admirable how they are taking this moment to do what they can, but the cost on that family of having to work those kind of hours around the clock is really high. In addition to having the ongoing fear that at any time the husband could be removed from this country. So as we have experienced our clients losing rights and protections under the prior administration, we're not going to let that happen without a fight. One of the things that we have done as an organization is that we have been involved as plaintiffs in lawsuits to challenge the government for anti-immigrant policies, and one of those being the policy that removes work authorization eligibility for many asylum seekers, like the client whose story I shared.
Thank you for sharing that, Cristina. Let's talk a little bit about how each of our programs has adapted to these new challenges and how we've engaged our teams and how that has looked.
People still come to our door and need to see somebody and need to access services in person, whether it's because they, lost their phone service because they couldn't pay their phone bills, or, they know where we are and they want to actually see somebody in person. I think that, we are a trusted institution in the community and people do need to access us in person. So actually during the pandemic, our operations team actually set us all up with installing a Ring doorbell. We now have handicap accessible, doors so that our receptionist doesn't have to get up every time to, give somebody, the document that they're picking up or that they need to drop off. We also renovated our backyard so that now we can actually use it to meet with clients outdoors, and safely and socially distanced. So yeah, we've made a lot of changes around the office and in the office to make sure that we can safely work with clients in person when needed.
It is really challenging to work with people who have survived trauma over the phone instead of in person. It just takes a lot longer to build that trust. Our team has been really careful to be very explicit about confidentiality and how that continues to apply, although we're doing all of our work over the phone. We also really try to accommodate our clients in a whole new way in terms of ensuring that they have a private moment where they can get away from, whoever else they share their space with, so that they can share their story privately and confidentially. We've also done a lot to, within what's possible, connect our clients to mental health services so they can get the support they need while they go through a very challenging process with us.
So for housing, how have things changed with the pandemic and how our teams are mobilizing?
We created a new website with information about all the eviction moratoriums, and we pivoted to do a lot more community education. around these new laws, so that people know what their rights are, so that they don't just move out on 3 days notice because their landlord tells them to. And so at the same time, people weren't getting evicted necessarily, but they did still need to pay the rent. And so we shifted a lot of staffing resources, and it was a joint effort by Katrina's EAP team and the housing team, to get tons of rental assistance money out the door early on in the pandemic, because we didn't know how long the moratoriums were going to last. Over 200 checks went out just during the pandemic, and that's way more than what we used to do. And luckily, funders made those funds available. So we spent about $500,000 in rental assistance during the first 10 months of the pandemic. We plan to spend a lot more in the coming months. But we see that as a tool we can use. It's just another tool to prevent evictions and keep people in their homes. And so we're happy to use whatever tools are available to help the community not get evicted. What we're hearing now from one family in particular, and this is emblematic of what a lot of people are facing, is they've been vaccinated or they're getting vaccinated. Things are opening back up again, but it doesn't necessarily mean that people are going back to work right away. Or if they are back at work, they may not have the same hours they used to have.
Right.
So they're still not sure how they're going to pay the rent. And there's just so much uncertainty about what's going to happen for tenants in the next few months.
Thanks so much for sharing that, Jason. Thank you all so much for contributing to this really insightful and moving conversation. I've learned a lot about what we've been doing, and I really appreciate all of the new and inventive approaches we've had to put into place because of COVID. So I think that all of us and all of our CLSEPA teams have done an amazing job responding to the needs of the moment in a really challenging year. So congratulations for being so resourceful in the face of a once-in-a-lifetime crisis. And on behalf of everybody participating tonight, thank you very, very much for all that you do every day.
Wow, that was fantastic. I want to thank Mariam and all of our panelists for sharing what they've been up to during this challenging time. My friends, it has been so great that during this challenging time, Community Legal Services has been there to support families and communities throughout the pandemic. And so impressive what has been done to continue delivering needed services in some of these communities that had been experiencing real challenges even before the pandemic. Now, we have a story about one client. This is the moment that a lot of us, including me, have been waiting for. Story about one client who, despite tremendous odds and with the help of CLSEPA attorneys, well, let me let Harley tell you for himself. Let's take a look.
Before, I kept on seeing shut doors. Now I see open doors. I could support my family now. I could put food on the table. I could pay our mortgage. If it wasn't for Community Legal Services, I wouldn't have that. And I'm loving my life. I didn't know you could do this. I didn't know that you could expunge your record. My past was heading the wrong direction. I was addicted to methamphetamines. So I did a lot of things that I wasn't supposed to do. But there was one day that I decided that, hey, I need to change my life. I got myself into a program, and that's where I heard about Community Legal Services.
The Economic Advancement Program aims to increase the economic potential of our clients and community members who seek our services, and we do so in a variety of ways, the first being criminal records clearance. Once a person has served time for their sentence, paid back their debt to society, we hope that that person will be able to achieve their economic potential and won't have any opportunities barred to them because of the criminal record. However, that's not the case.
Before, with my felonies and my record showing, I was only able to get a job that was going to pay me $18 an hour, and as a hard labor work.
My hope for Harley and for any client is confidence. I want them to be able to walk away from our services at the end of it and just have the ability to apply to any job that they want.
When I first reached out to Community Legal Services, I was a little shy and embarrassed. She was real just down to earth. She was just made me feel real comfortable. not being able to go all the way over there and see her. So we did a lot of, video chat or phone chat, email. We always stayed in touch. When we went for the first court to file, I was denied. And that was kind of hard for me. That gave me a big blow. Kind of almost gave up on myself at the time. But she continued calling and texting and emailing me just, to make sure that I wouldn't give up.
He trusted me through that, and that's the biggest gift that you can ask for your clients.
We waited a time period. We filed it again. Just the blessing was that to hear from the judge that day that he granted me those expungements. And Vina was there to, support me and to keep me going and motivate me and not to give up. I'm sorry, a little emotional there. But if it wasn't for her, honestly, I probably would have given up. And I'm glad that I stayed and I continued fighting for these expungements because my life is so much better now.
When we help formerly incarcerated people move past their mistakes and be able to become productive members of society, it definitely affects the community at large because you have somebody who's able to participate, raising a family, sending their kids to school.
Because of community legal services, today my family and we live a better life. I could show my skills now, and I get trusted by companies now. They give me vehicles, give me credit cards. My construction started from remodeling pools. Throughout those times, I've learned water chemistry for pools. I'm ready to have my own business, have my own routes, which I've already started. So now we're waiting for my business license. Before my expungements, I could not even think of having a business or running a business. Today, I'm thinking of opening my own business and running my own business as a pool guy.
You have to go through a state licensing agency in order to get some type of licensure. But if they have a criminal record, it's a huge barrier because the Occupational Licensing Board will do a background check that goes back indefinitely.
So now we're waiting for my business license, and I'll be my own boss. And how about that? I would never thought of I would be my own boss, right? My son is almost 2 years old. I could support him now and do the right thing to support him.
So my friends, this is why we're here tonight. I want to start out by thanking Harley from all of us for sharing his story with us. That took a lot of courage, and Harley, I think you might be watching here tonight. We really appreciate that. My friends, this is just one example, but a perfect example of someone who has everything he needs to succeed. He has everything he needs. Obviously, he's smart, he's motivated, he wants to work. All he wants to do is what we all want to do, which is take care of our families, go to work, put in a good day's work, go home and, and be with your family. But there's one problem he has. There's one thing in his way. And in Harley's case, it was expunging his criminal record. In some folks' case, it's they have a problem with their landlord or a problem with their employer. Whatever the problem is, as we all can imagine, in some cases, that one problem can really derail a life. It really can. And that's what CLSEPA is doing here. It's helping folks with that little problem, that little thing that is, in many cases grown out of control. But if they can solve that problem, which is exactly what CLSEPA does, they can get back to their living their lives. And that's why we're here tonight. So in this moment, I'm going to start asking for generous donations in the amount of $5,000 down to $2,500, $1,000, $500, $250, and all the way to $100 with the goal being that one of those amounts, one of those investments in folks just like Harley and his family is going to work for every person or every couple in this room. So on that note, I want to see if we have any true heroes, anybody who's really feeling it, wants to kick us off with a donation in the amount of $5,000. Do we have any $5,000 here tonight? Look at that, Linda Galligan coming in at the 5,000 level. Excuse me, Linda. Thank you so much. I know you've been our board fundraising chair. You have really shown spectacular leadership throughout this process, and we really want to thank you for that. So thanks, Linda. Does anybody want to join Linda and join her at the $5,000 level? My friends, look at that. We're already halfway to our goal. And by the way, that's a modest goal, but I know we can get there and blow past it. Does anybody else want to jump in at the $5,000 level? Again, folks, Harley's just one example, but there's so many folks, some of the most vulnerable folks in our community who just have this one issue, this one legal issue. And, you know, as a non-lawyer, there's a lot of really smart people out there, but unless you're an attorney and been trained in this stuff and have experience in it, you just have no idea how to solve your own problem. I think a lot of us have needed attorneys in all different ways in our lives. And when that's happening to you and you don't have the resources to afford a competent attorney, the amount of difference that one of our attorneys here at Community Legal Services can make is truly monumental, and that's why we're here tonight. So if anybody else wants to jump in at the $5,000 level, so much appreciated. How about the $2,500 level? Again, $2,500 is hopefully a good level for a lot of folks. That's going to help us get closer to our goal. Again, we're already halfway there with all of our previous donors. And by the way, I want to thank all of our previous donors. I see some of your names here. Cristina donated 1,000. Katrina donated 2,000. I'm looking at Hong Han Vo jumped in at $1,119. If there's an amount that's important to you, please jump in. Now's the time. You can see it's so easy to donate. You just want to hit the green button on the right side of your screen, or if you want to donate more or a different amount than what we're asking for, feel free to hit the Pledge Other button, that black Pledge Other button. You can hit that as well. So whatever amount you can donate, now's the time. Look at that. Susan Jang right there at $2,500. Susan, thank you for your generosity. Greatly appreciate it. I think I remember you from past events here. So thanks so much for stepping up and making your $2,500 donation. Who wants to join Susan at $2,500? Again, my friends, why we're here, the most important part of the evening. Look at Jen jumping in at 1,000 already right there. Thanks, Jen. I believe Jen might be a board member there. So thanks a lot, Jen, for jumping in there. Board members, non-board members, anybody watching, fellow attorneys, just interested folks who love helping people in their community. Now's the time, jump in. If $2,500 is a good level for you, feel free to jump in at the $2,500 level. And I was told that we had a pre-gift from Wolford Wayne LLP. They made an early donation in the amount of $2,500. I don't see that here, but I might have missed it. So thank you to Wolford Wayne LLP for jumping in with your generous donation at the $2,500 level. If anybody else wants to jump in at $2,500, now's the time. Or maybe $1,000's a good level for you. $1,000 is one of my favorite levels because it's so affordable to so many people, and yet it really makes a difference. You can see how much the $1,000 donations move the needle. Again, I'm not an accountant, but this is we're a 501c3. This is your donation is totally tax deductible if you itemize, of course. And so, my friends, if you can make your donation the amount of $1,000, now's the time. Oh, look at that, Jory jumping in. Jory, our board co-chair right there, jumping in at $1,500. Thanks, Jory. Appreciate that. We have Andrea making a donation. Ashley coming in right there. We've had Martha jumping in with the donation. Ashley again. Joanne, Meg, Jason. The honorable, sorry, I didn't see the period there. The honorable Sunil Quikarni right there. Thank you so much. Phil Wong jumping in. Phil, I remember you, former executive director. Thanks for jumping in there, Phil. Really appreciate your generosity. I didn't see that. It was down my list a little bit there. Phil's jumped in with a nice $500 donation. Thanks so much, Phil. Matt Easton jumping in. Marita jumping in. Sue. Court jumping in. Court, another board member there. Thanks so much, Court, for your generous donation. Keith, Ashley again. Rosemary, Andrew jumping in, Mary Valicia, thank you so much. Rodolfo, Elizabeth, Georgiana, William, Jeannie, Ashley. Ashley's jumped in with a bunch of $100 donations there. Thanks, Ashley. Appreciate that. William, folks, so many folks jumping in right there with generous donations. Won't you join us? Again, if $1,000 is a good level for you, now's the time. You can see these really make the needle jump there. And look at that. We're already over 2/3 of the way to our $30,000 goal. I know we're going to get there tonight. So again, if $1,000 is a good level for you, jump right on in. Or maybe $500. Again, $500 is another spectacular level for us because, again, it makes so much difference. And you can see it really makes the thermometer jump here. We don't need that many $500 donations to hit our $30,000 goal. So if $500 is a good level for you, jump on in. You can see we've changed the pledge button, the pledge $500 button. All you got to do is hit the green button right there on the right. Hit that green button, make your $500 pledge. Now's a great time to do that. So again, if $500 is a good level, Ashley looked like she jumped in at $500. Thank you so much. I'm looking for other $500s that have jumped in the past. Phil again, thanks Phil so much for that. Marita jumped in at $500. We have a few others here. I'm just scrolling down the list here. Folks, a lot of folks jumping in at the $500 level. Oh, looks like we just got Maria jumping in at $500. Thank you. And Ashley again at the $500 level. I think Ashley might be bidding on behalf of a few bidders who couldn't be here tonight. So thank you for those generous donations. My friends, we're already at, we only have a less than $7,500 less to hit our $30,000 goal. I know we're going to get there. If $500 is a good level for you, please jump on it at the 500 level. Again, the pandemic has made, created a lot of challenging situations for a lot of folks who frankly already had challenging situations. We have our essential workers, folks who relied, who we relied upon during the pandemic. A lot of these folks didn't have the opportunity to work from home. They took risks to say, hey, let's go, we're not sure if it's safe or not, but we need to go to work, so we're going to go to work. These are the kinds of folks that we're helping here tonight. And your donations, your generosity is going to help those folks. Again, we're donating to people that you'll probably never meet, will probably never meet you. And every major religion says that's the most generous way to donate. And that's what we're doing here tonight. So if $500 is a good level, feel free to jump on in at the $500 level, or maybe $250. Let's see an avalanche of $250 donations here tonight, my friends. Again, $250 is such a great level because, again, these add up so quickly. Again, my friends, we're talking about a lot of these folks are low-wage workers, folks who might have been the first to lose their job in pandemics, the folks who really don't have any leverage in a disagreement with their employers. These are the kinds of folks that we're helping, through legal services. And again, these are the kinds of folks we're helping. Look at that, the 250 is pouring in. Okay, Cristina jumping in at 200. Thank you. Gary for 200. Thank you. Keith, again, I think Keith already donated. He decided to jump on in again. Thanks, Keith, for your $250 donation. Venuta jumping in at $250. Thank you as well. Patricia, hey, Patricia, nice working with you on this event. And thank you so much for your generous donation here. Folks, the 250s are pouring in. Look at that. We're almost at $25,000 is our next sub goal. I know we're going to hit that. And then we just have to get another $5,000 to blow by that and to blow by our $30,000 goal. This is why we're here. I got a few more minutes here. So again, if $250, Court jumping in, board member, thank you so much. And then Cristina jumping in as well. So anybody else want to jump in with a $250 level? Now's the time. It couldn't be any easier. Just hit the green button on the right side of your screen. I see it right there on my screen. It says pledge $250. Or if you have another amount, maybe another number that's meaningful to you. Somebody donated $1,119, probably a meaningful number to them. Or maybe their cat jumped across the keyboard. Who knows? Either way, whatever amount works for you, you can do that. You can hit the pledge other, the black pledge other button, or of course, hit the green donate $250 button. So at this point, let's go down to our last Fund a Need donation level. Let's go to the $100 level. Again, my friends, my hope today, we've got a great turnout here today. My hope is that one of these amounts, one of these investments in folks just like Harley, who we heard, folks who are, really struggling with either immigration issues or housing issues or working/economic advancement issues. One of these amounts is going to work for every person or every couple in the room to help these folks who, again, just need a little bit of help, just need the kind of help that, frankly, they can't get for themselves. It's just not going to happen. Navigating the legal system without the education, without an attorney's education and the tools and the experience, we all know it's not going to happen. And that's why Community Legal Services here for these people right here on the peninsula. So look at that. Marita, sorry, I misread that, jumping in at $500, putting us right on the cusp of $2,500. We're down at $1,000, folks. If we're down at $100, misspoke there. If $100 works for you, my friends, now is the time. We're hoping that everybody who hasn't had a chance to donate can really think about this. Think about the program they just heard. Think about what our panelists said. And most importantly, think about what Harley said, talking about his experience and how Community Legal Services has made such an impact on him and his family. Just needed that little bit of help to get over the hump, to lead his own life, be his own man, support his family, start his own business. I mean, it was an amazing story, Harley. Once again, appreciate you sharing with us. And that's why we're here tonight. Look at that. We've got a couple $100 bids, or several $100 bids. We are over our $25,000 level. I know we're going to charge on our way and get to our $30,000 level. Rebecca coming in at $100. Thank you. Madeline jumping in at $100. Nice working with you as well. Thanks, Madeline. Appreciate that. Anybody else want to jump in, match our donors at $100? We're doing great on time. We're right on time here. But here's what I want to do. I think we might need just a little bit of incentive to get our $100 bids going here, $100 bids going here. So here's what I'm going to do. We have been donated a spectacular prize, and I'm going to tell you about it right now. So through a very, very generous donation from the Rosewood Sand Hill Hotel. I think a lot of you folks are familiar with the Rosewood. It's probably the nicest hotel in town, one of the very nicest hotels. We're going to do right now what we call our last hero game. And here's how this works. Really simple. The last donor to make a donation in the amount of $100 or more to click on the pledge, the donate, it says pledge. I see it right there. Pledge $100 button. The last person before I say sold is going home with this prize. And let me tell you about it. This is a getaway and a dinner for two at the Rosewood Sandhill. Rosewood is a 16-acre beautiful landscape gardens, mountain views, elegant courtyards located right there in the Santa Cruz Mountains. You all know where it is. The winner is going to experience resort amenities, Michelin recommended dining. The restaurant, that's right, it's Michelin recommended. It is spectacular. This place probably costs $1,000 a night. Maybe you can, technically you're getting a $1,500 gift card at the Rosewood Sandhill. Now that gift card, depending on when you go, might be 2 nights, might be a night, get you dinner there either way, depending on when you decide to go. But this is a spectacular prize. Again, a night, and let's call it one night and dinner at the Rosewood Sandhill. And that is going to our last donor who gives us a bid in our special appeal tonight. And right now, if you want to see pictures, you want to see more about it, I'm going to go up there now. You can click on the more info button to my right there. If you want to click more about it, just click on the white lettering, the more info button. And yep, you can scroll through, see another few more pictures there and get a description of what's included there. So feel free to do that. And at this point, our last donor looks like it is Patricia. Patricia's coming at $100, but we already had $100 donations from Angelina, Gary, Rebecca, and a few others folks. Again, remember, the last donor here tonight is going home with this $1,500 gift card at the Rosewood Sandhill Hotel. Right now, that's going, oh, Patricia, sorry about that. Mio Sadi just stole it from you. Again, remember, every time you donate, you're committing to that $100 donation. But the last donor, $1,500 at the Rosewood, can't complain about that. Except, sorry about that, Mio Sadi. Meg just jumped in now. Meg is currently our last donor. If no one else donates, Meg's going home with the $1,500 gift card to the Rosewood. And I think looking at our time there, we're just about wrapping up. I got less than a minute left, so let's start thinking about wrapping that up again. Oh, look at Andrea says, actually, Linda said it first, and then Andrea, but now Amanda's back in and says, I'm going to take it for $100. Again, folks, the last donor gets the prize. Every time you donate, you're committing to that $100, whether you win or not. But again, the last person wins this, my friends. It's a $1,500 prize. All right, I'm looking. It looks like it's about time. We're going to start closing it up in 5, and there might be a little delay, so you don't want to wait till the very last minute. 4, 3. Meg's back right there. Meg's back with another $100 donation. Again, you can donate as many times as you want. Every time you donate, you're committing to that last. You're committing to that $100, right? But the last person, when I say the D and sold, going to the Rosewood, take your friends. You got $1,500. That sounds like dinner and at least one night to me. So again, Amanda donated, but then Elizabeth is currently our last bidder. All right, we got to be closing this up. We're going to sell this, close it out in 5. Last donor takes home the $1,500 gift card to the Rosewood. 4, 3, 2. Oh, Meg's back in. Meg says, you're not going to take it. Meg's back in again with another $100. Again, we got to be closing this out. Whoa, look at those. All the donations coming in. Amanda, Elizabeth, Meg. Here's what I want to do, folks. Well, I got to be wrapping this up, but we're going to just keep getting a giant pledge. Ashley was the last bidder, donor at $100, but then Meg came back in. Here's what I got to do. We got to close this up, but here's what I want to do. This is a $1,500 value, pure. It's a $1,500 gift card. I want to bump our last donor, the amount up a little bit, just to make the air a little thinner here. So let's bump our donation amount up to $250. Again, friends, my apology, but if I don't do this, we're probably going to be here all night. I want to make sure it's truly the last donor that gets this. So we've just bumped it up. You can see there. Now, if you want to donate and be the last donor, you need to come in at the $250 level. Otherwise, looks like Jean is going to be our winner, going to be our last donor. All right. If you want to jump in at the $250 to steal. Oh, look at that. Hong Han Bo jumped in at the $250 level. And folks, we only have less than $3,000 to go to get to our goal of $30,000. I know we're going to get there. Hong Han Bo right there. And I got to be wrapping this up pretty soon. Hong Han Bo is at the $250 level. If anybody wants to steal it from him, it's got to be $250. Closing it out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 250 is going to take it. Last call. Anybody else? Oh, we had a couple bids there. Jen jumped in at the 250 level, but then Katrina jumped in at the 250 level, but then Hong jumped in at the 250 level. Meg says, I'm back in at the 250 level. All right, my friends, for real this time. I'm at time now. We got to close it out. I promise I'm closing it out this time. We're going to close it out in 5. It's got to be $250 steals it. 4. By the way, we're at $28,000, less than $2,000 to get to our goal. I know we can get there, my friends. Let's keep digging. Right now, Meg is our last donor at the $250 level. She's going home with the Rosewood $1,500 gift card. If nobody else donates, $250 or more in 5, 4. I'm closing it for real this time. 3, 2, 1. Last call, and I'm going to say sold it right there. Let's close it out. See the winner. Meg jumped in again. Hong jumped in. Oh, someone new. Norma jumped in at the last minute, folks. There you go. I showed that Norma's my winner. And folks, we are less than $1,500 away from our goal. I know we can get there. Everybody, thank you so much. I want to thank all of our participants, everybody who donated generously in our special appeal, and everybody who played our last bidder game, our last tier game. Thank you so much for your generosity. Again, my friends, you are the difference. You are what made this all possible. And there's a lot of folks out there, again, probably who you'll never meet and will never meet you. And they are going to be eternally grateful for your generous help and for the help that they're going to receive because of you from Community Legal Services in East Palo Alto. So again, thank you so much. A few really important details before I turn it back over to Jory here. First of all, again, my friends, we're going to be keeping this open. We're going to be keeping our bidding open until to the end of the month through June 30th. Again, my friends, we are less than $1,400 away from our $30,000 goal. If anybody wants to just pop in $1,400 right now, we'd hit it. Otherwise, if you can make any other little donations, now we'd encourage it. We are so close to our goal. So thank you, everyone who donated. Again, we're going to keep it open for another couple weeks there if anybody else wants to make a donation. Or if you want to tell them to your friends, send the link and feel free to make any other donations. We're keeping it open until the end of the month. Secondly, and most importantly, everyone who donated, please make sure you fulfill your obligation. You can see in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you see the pledge card, the black and white pledge card button. Before you leave, please hit the pledge card. Just like Amazon, you enter your credit card and you can check out easily. And again, if you're willing to and you can pay your own credit card fees, so much appreciated. That just saves the organization the money there. You don't have to, but that's money that Community Legal Services doesn't have to pay. So feel free to do that. Be sure and check out, hit the black and white pledge card. And then lastly, on that note, thank you again. My name is Keith McLean, KLM Auctions. It's been my absolute privilege being with you tonight. Hope to see you back in the room next year. And at this point, I'm going to turn it back over to our board co-chair, Jory Steele. Take us home, Jory.
Wow, what an amazing evening. We really knocked it out of the park tonight. Thank you to everyone who participated. Thank you so much for opening your hearts and your wallets to support the vital work of Community Legal Services. We are deeply appreciative of your generosity and your support. Many, many thanks to everyone for your kind participation. Before we sign off, if you know someone who wasn't able to join us tonight, look for an email following this event. It will contain a link to the recording of our virtual gala. The link will be live until the end of the month, including the opportunity to donate to our Fund a Need campaign. Feel free to share it with your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, anyone who would like to add to tonight's amazing total and support Community Legal Services. From all of us to all of you, thank you and good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Goodbye. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You make a difference. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your contributions make a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tú haces la diferencia. Gracias.